Hello all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade, and I'm back here with another video. So, I've been doing a little bit less videos here lately because I've been doing an ostrich impersonation. I've been sticking my head in the sand as much as possible and saying, la 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 la, I don't hear anything. Because I think, well, at least for me, it's a better way of dealing with the situation than being a defeatist. I've noticed a lot of defeatists lately. Some of the videos I've seen from Tim Pool, he's very much sounding like a defeatist. Not that Tim Pool was ever, you know, a staunch Republican in any way. He just happened to align with our values for this particular election, and you know, he casted his vote for Trump, as did many other similar individuals. However, I think it's probably easier for that type of individual, an individual like, say, Tim Pool, to go ahead and jump on the defeatist bandwagon or defeatist train. Let's get some things perfectly and totally clear. Trump has not lost this election. This election has not been won by anybody as of yet. And let's get some other things perfectly clear. 2016's election process never had anywhere near the giant cloud of election fraud hanging over it that this election did. Let's get another thing clear. We all knew this election was going to have a giant cloud of election fraud hanging over it because of the despicable, unsolicited mail-in ballot practice that the Democrats pushed on us in the name of coronavirus. It's very apparent what they did this election. Giant numbers of mail-in ballots casted. Unlike normal elections. Yes, normal elections, there are a fair number of mail-in ballots, but those are solicited, those are requested, those have verifiable signatures, those have a whole key of ways to ensure that they are good ballots. And one of the ways that ensures that those are good ballots is to have election challengers, a Democrat and a Republican, there to verify each and every ballot. As Rudy Giuliani has so eloquently explained to the lay person how the process is supposed to work, the election official holds the ballot, verifies it's okay, then shows it to the Democrat challenger. The Democrat challenger says, yeah, looks good to me, and then shows it to the Republican challenger. The Republican challenger says, yep, looks good to me, and then that ballot goes in. If one of the two challengers says, no, that ballot does not look good to me, that ballot is set aside and put into another pile where a different process is done to verify if those challenged ballots are indeed good or not. That is in simplest terms how this election process is supposed to work, and in no way has that process been done this election. In fact, it has been crystal clear in Wisconsin and Michigan, unless you're blind, with the two largest cities, Milwaukee and Detroit, all casting giant amounts of ballots in the middle of the night at 4:30 in the morning with nobody monitoring. 100% for Joe Biden to give the magic amount of ballots needed to push them over the top in those states. That's what we saw. And, you know, Donald Trump has every right to contest those and many other voter issues. So we keep hearing about the lawsuits in Michigan. We keep hearing about the lawsuits in Pennsylvania. We've heard about some lawsuits in Georgia, but the mainstream media tends to gloss over those. And we've heard about some lawsuits in Nevada. Mainstream media tends to gloss over those. There's also lawsuits in Wisconsin. There's also lawsuits in Arizona. Those seem to get totally ignored. So there are lots of lawsuits outstanding right now in this election, and this election is far from over. There is no way to truly know who has won at this point in time until these things work their way through the courts. Now, let's listen to one of my least favorite individuals telling us Republicans how we should behave. Oh, and I want to point out that I'm taking this clip off of Ben Shapiro. I find it very, very aggravating that I figured this would be a clip I would be able to find for myself very easily just to go to the View. But when I went to the View, I searched through the material there, and it seems like this clip has been removed from their YouTube site. And the only place that I can get the clips is from other people who have already recorded it and used it in their shows. So I find it frustrating I have to use other people's clips so often, but it's just kind of how YouTube is, and it's aggravating. So here we go.
When you know who was elected 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton didn't say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, stop the count. She didn't say, this isn't right, I'm not going for it. She didn't say any of that. So all of you, suck it up. Suck it up like we sucked it up. And if you are not sure that you're comfortable with Joe Biden, do what we did. Find things and then take it to the law. And if the law says it's something to look at it. But from now on, suck
it up, she says. So, you know what? Fuck you, Whoopi Goldberg. You guys never sucked it up for the last 4 years. For the last 4 years, all of you, especially you, has acted like an impetulant brat the entire time. You have been nonstop Russia, 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 this and that, all the stupidity that's come out of your mouth for the past 4 years, the elitist attitude that's so not in touch with American people comes straight out of your mouth. You're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. If I could say it in any worse terms, I would, but this is YouTube, and I should probably keep it to some level of light profanity. But you are the exact problem that's wrong with this country. It's people just like you, Whoopi Goldberg, who I used to actually think was a fairly decent actress. But now your nonsensical political rhetoric has made it impossible for me to watch Guinan and Star Trek Next Generation and consider anything she says to have any type of words of wisdom in it, because you, at the actual human level, not on camera, are anything but a wise person with words of wisdom. You're a hypocrite, a degenerate. You're a deplorable. In fact, you're one of Hillary Clinton's deplorables, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, now that I'm done name calling, let's move on. Oh yes, the AoC stuff. Let's hear the AoC from. Remember, there's two factions in the Democratic Party. There is the Democratic mainstream system. You know, the group that has desperately tried to regain power this election, versus the confused populist socialist radicals that the two sides of the Democratic Party don't mesh too well. Bernie Sanders is doing everything he can to be the ambassador of these people. In a way, Bernie Sanders is a complete fraud. Bernie Sanders is actually mainstream Democrat, and he's being used as a puppet to keep this radical group under control. But how long are they going to play ball? Let's listen.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't want people to forget the people who continue to enable you-know-who. In a tweet,
Voldemort?
Is anyone archiving?
Oh no, it's Trump.
Who's
Sorry.
sycophants when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future?
You know what? I want it to be archived now. I am a Trump sycophant. Yes, I am a proud Trump sycophant. In fact, I might even put that on the banner of my YouTube channel just to help out AOC, Sandy Cortez, to know that I actually have a head on my shoulders unlike her. So this is reprehensible behavior by AoC, basically saying we need to make a list, which, you know, it goes along with the left and their thinking. You know, we haven't even gotten into the whole truth and reconciliation bullshit where you have hosts of leftists that are all about re-educating Trump followers. We need to fix their way of thinking. We need to correct their erroneous behavior. Blah 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 blah. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's reprogramming at the behest of an authoritarian regime. It's communism, is what it is, and AoC is a communist, a socialist. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I do find it funny that you're about to hear the quote-unquote moderate left attacking their fringe group here.
Do you foresee a decent probability of many deleted writings and tweets and photos in the future? Is she trying to make sure they are held accountable, or is she sort of advocating cancel culture? I'll start with you, Sarah. What's your thoughts?
I'm not sure what she's trying to do here, but she's got to remember that over 70 million people voted for this outgoing administration and the Republican Party. So these people will work again, and honestly, the sleaziest in this culture can still sell a book or a movie. Like, it's going to happen. People that hire them will do their appropriate checks and balances, but this is a bit about archiving or making a list. Kind of reminds you of the Red Scare and McCarthyism.
So there you have it. Even the left can recognize what the right recognizes when AoC says this bullshit, right? We see the McCarthyism, Red Scare type rhetoric coming out of her mouth, and even the other side of her party can see this, while they throw in a few jabs calling us sleazy, of course. So let's move on. Oh yes, the good news. The good news that's been all over the news. Have no fear, Biden has saved us. We have a vaccine, and we don't need to worry about the coronavirus anymore now that the election is over and we think we've won. Lockdowns aren't needed. Coronavirus isn't as bad as we thought it was. And good news, we have a vaccine that's going to work, blah, 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 blah. As they try to spin this into this was all Joe Biden's doing. And Pfizer was never part of Operation Warp Speed. No, Pfizer has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Pfizer was all Joe Biden's doing. What? Joe Biden's not even... First off, he's president-elect only because the media has declared him to be, and that's the lamestream media that's declared him to be that. Reminder one. Reminder two... Even if he was actually the president-elect, which he's not, but even if he was, president-elect can't do anything. The president of the United States until January 20th is Donald Trump. Anything happening right now is Donald Trump. To include the under 7% unemployment that the news was talking about, and somehow hoisting on the shoulders of Joe Biden, as if it's thanks to Joe Biden that we have less than 7% unemployment right now. What? He's not even the president-elect. He's only the president-elect in the mind of the mainstream media. Okay, so now we've seen the CNN article. You've seen the news. If you've seen the news, it's hard to avoid all the wonderful talk about the vaccine and how we'd no longer have to be afraid. And then the quote unquote Pfizer had nothing to do with Operation Warp Speed.
Today, my administration reached a historic agreement with Pfizer to produce and deliver 100 million doses of their vaccine immediately following its approval. Hopefully, the approval process will go very quickly, and we think we have a winner there. We also think we have other companies right behind that are doing very well in the vaccines, long ahead of schedule. As part of...
All right, let me remind you, this newscast in July 22nd, 2020, many months ago now, 3 months ago now, where Trump specifically names Pfizer and BioNTech as being on the cusp of having a vaccine, was then fact-checked into fact-checked oblivion, calling Donald Trump a liar, and there's no way that we can have a vaccine before the end of the year. It's physically impossible. Just like it's physically impossible that Trump could possibly still be president following the court cases that are going through the Supreme Court. Anyway, I am James Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all peace.